guys ready for your headliner? Make some noise. You know him. You love him. Here's the guy you're going to see, Mr. Norm McDonald.
Guys, man, you're sweet. Listen, I gotta tell you though, I had last time I was here, I ate at Dracula's, you know, over here. So this time I came, and I learned a lot, you know. Because I didn't eat there last time because I was too afraid, you know. So I ate there before like the first show, and it was like around. Hey, how you doing? It was like around, I was just saying I ate over at Dracula's. So, I ate right before the first show, so it was around, what would that make it, around 7 o'clock until about 8, I was eating. Anyways, I noticed a very strange thing was happening. People were eating, enjoying themselves, having a good time, you know, at Dracula's. And, suddenly, man, the mood began to change, and I couldn't figure out why, and then I realized why. The sun was going down. So people started eating faster and shit. And there was this couple next to me, and the guy's like, "Come on, Marge, I'm telling you. You gotta get out of here, see?" And she's like, "I just have to finish this cheesecake." He's going, "We've been here 5 times, we're pushing our luck as it is. If it wasn't for my love of Transylvanian food, I never would have made the trip. I'm telling you, we gotta get out of here." Because of course, people there are all afraid that, because the thing about Dracula's restaurant is, you hope that it's just like a cute name that they picked for their restaurant, you know? And what you really hope is that it's not owned by Count Dracula himself, you know? Because he's alive, you know, he's undead, he's never not been alive. So, and he's not a vampire all the time, he's gotta fucking do something to make a living. They don't pay you for being a vampire. So naturally you're afraid, you know. But anyways, I found out today it's all a bunch of nonsense, you know. It's just an urban legend that that restaurant is owned by Count Dracula. It's not true. It's owned by a nice couple. Nice couple. It's not even Transylvanian food. It's just it's all American food. It's Fred and Rose. I met them. Fred and Rose Dracula. Their last name is Dracula. It was Fred's idea. The restaurant. His father was a restaurateur. And so anyways, I did voice my concerns to him though. I said, are you afraid people are going to be worried? And he's like, about what? I go, you know, vampires and shit that they'll come to the restaurant and be vampires. So then Fred Dracula, right, he says to me, he says, "What's a vampire?" I'm like, wait a second, hold on a second. You telling me your name is Dracula and you've never heard of vampires? Like no one's ever made a joke to you or nothing? About you being a vampire? He's like, no. So then, now I'm really suspecting he is a fucking Dracula. Because that's a lie. That's a fucking lie. Whatever. Anyway, I had a pork chop, so that's the good side. Every story has to have a good side. And the good side was I ate a pork chop. But it was delicious. But I'm not really afraid of monsters anymore, you know. I don't even know what I was thinking. You know, we spend our time, when you think about it, you know, when you really look at it for real, you know, in life, and you think, what am I afraid of? Like, what am I really afraid of? Like, deep down, right? Deep down inside, like, what really makes me afraid? And then the answer is monsters, you know? But then like when you fucking stop to think about it for a moment, you go, are they really that frightening? You know, a monster? Like, I hate, you know what I also hate is when movies, like, exploit our fears, you know, our natural fears, and then they try to manipulate us by making movies that will, you know, tap into those natural fears. Like, there's this movie out now called The Wolf Man. And that's tapping into our natural fear of wolfmen. You know? And I'm afraid of a wolfman as much as the next guy, you know? And also a werewolf, which is very close to a wolfman. Think about it. I don't know how those monsters are so close, but whatever. I don't know everything about monsters, but I know that you know, they're very close. And if you got you know, attacked by a werewolf, and then later somebody was like, "What happened? A werewolf? I think it was a wolf man." People wouldn't have that argument. You know, it's a half a man and a half a wolf. But anyways, when you think about it, you stop to think, you go, hey, should I really be afraid of a werewolf or a wolf man? You know, sure, it's scary, it's a half a man and a half a wolf, but I'll tell you something that's twice as scary as that, a wolf. We don't spend our nights feverishly worried about them like we do the werewolves, you know? But at least if you're a half a man, then when he's a man, you can fucking talk to him. You can deal with him, you know? Offer money. They like money, men, you know? But a fucking wolf, he'll just eat you. That's how they do. Anyways, whatever. And, whatever. Ghosts, you know, you're supposed to be so fucking afraid of them. And I was never afraid of them. I don't like to say I'm the bravest guy in the world. I mean, I like saying it, but I've never been afraid of ghosts. Even as a child, I was never afraid of them. I'd see them on the TV and everything, you know. But for some reason, they didn't scare me like other people, because to me, they come in, they go, ah. But first of all, they're fucking invisible, like they're transparent. You can put your hand through them. It's not something that frightens me about someone. You know? The other guys that scare me, you ever see those guys where you fucking can't put your hand through the fucker? Those guys can do you damage. You know? But a ghost is like, ah, you're like, alright, whatever. You startled me again. Nice to see that. We've lived in the same house for the last 2 years. I'll be hovering over your bed tonight, okay. But, and I went to a hotel, there was a ghost that said right at the fucking, where you sign in, that place? Check sign? Whatever. They had a little sign that said there's a ghost lives in the hotel, see? And her name was Mary with the blue dress. They had a little, like, a fucking thing. And you'd think they wouldn't put that on, you know. Yes, they do. And so the story with Mary is she had been hatcheted. Someone had hatcheted her years ago, you know, and in the hotel. And so she was haunting this hotel, you see, and because she had been hatcheted into the hotel. I don't know if she was hatcheted in the actual hotel, but, you know, she could have been hatcheted like in a nearby ditch, and then she said, I'm not haunting a fucking ditch. I'm going to go down the ways. They have that hotel. Been around there for a while and startled people. So she went down. Anyways, whatever. And I never saw her. She never visited me. There's only so many rooms, as the desk clerk told me when I was trying to get a refund. And she didn't have her around my bed. But anyways, Mary with the blue dress, who I was also got in an argument with the front desk guy, because I said, I really think her nickname should be Mary the Ghost. Because that to me is her most, like, you know, I've seen ladies with blue dresses and shit. I think her transparency and her being dead is more, you know, more unique to Mary. Some old blue dress. Those complaining ghosts, you ever notice that? Oh, it's fucking carping about something, yeah? You're like, what? What the fuck are you complaining about today? What's your story again? I got hatcheted. Yeah, whatever. What was that, 300 years ago? And they're like, oh, you don't understand. I'll never be at peace until I have to find a guy, or else I'll never be at peace. I have to walk through the world all not at peace. You know? And then you're like, well, me too, you fucker. You think life's a donkey ride to heaven over here? At least you don't walk through walls and shit. You know, you can do cool things. And actually, now that I think about it, even Dracula, who I'm more afraid of than anybody, whatever. Maybe you shouldn't be afraid. When you think about it, actually, you think about it, you go, hey man, fuck, I'm afraid of Dracula. I better get some garlic. Shit. Carry that around just in case. And also I will get a 2x6 and I will hew it. First I'll learn how to hew. Then I will hew it into a steak that's spelled S-T-A-K-E. And then when I finally see Dracula or one of his minions, you know, then I will place that sharp stick pointed part between his breastbones and with the wooden mallet that I've also hewn, I will with all my might slam that steak until it breaks through the deadly vampire's chest cavity, or just splits his two ribs and breaks through his heart and smashes his heart. You only have a moment to do it, you know. It's very tough to do. You have to get it right on the right part, and if you fuck up, the vampire will bite your neck, and then you will have eternal life. It's not that bad when you think it through. It's really not, you know, you're not going to lose that much if you miss. You live forever. I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't even be afraid of vampires. Now that I think about it. Then you just go to a vampire's house. This would freak him out. Go, hey, listen, I know you're a vampire. I suspected for a long time. There's been a lot of time. First of all, you've lived on this block for 2,000 years. Anyways, we check the records. You know, they have a housing records and shit. But anyways, here's the point. I know you're a vampire, and there's no use trying to hypnotize me with your eyes and all that shit. On account of, I want you to bite my neck. Did you do that? I don't know if they do that or not. I think they will only do it against your will. But I wouldn't mind that, man, having my neck bit by a vampire, and then being a cool vampire and shit. And they dress good, they always look good, you know. Women love vampires. Jesus Christ, man, women can't get enough of fucking vampires. I don't know what it is. But, you know, it's like they like bad boys or something. They always love vampires. I don't know. All I know is women love vampires like babies love stray dogs. You know what? It touches them somewhere deep within their soul. That's what I heard about them. Whatever. But anyways, I got the, what I was going to say is I got the pork chop at the, I I actually have a strand of pork in my teeth as we speak. A little interesting side note. Whatever. So, as I do my show, you can watch for this. This will be a little something extra. You can see a little subtext. As I do my jokes, I will also be brushing my tongue against this one tooth, trying to get that fucking strand right of my strand of pork. That's interesting. And then I'll eat it. That's what I do when I go. Some people consider that gross. I even myself kind of consider it a little gross. But still I do it. It takes me, because sometimes it'll take like an hour. I'll chew it out, and it tastes different than the pork that you It's been basting in plaque for a while. Which you would think would be gross, but isn't. I mean, I think it would be if it was a whole meal, but just a little strand, whatever. But I had the pork chop, and I was thinking, because this girl I know, who is a vegetarian, you know, which most vegetarians are girls, I guess. But I like pork. And she is a vegetarian, you know, so she only eats the vegetables. And I don't know if you ever like suddenly realized that the other person's right and you're wrong? Like, have you ever suddenly realized, you go, hey, everything I've ever thought in my life is wrong. Not everything. Not everything, but just that one thing. Just one thing. Forget when I said everything. Because that's a whole separate scenario. By the way, if you ever do wake up and you realize that everything you've ever thought of in life is wrong, I don't know what to advise you. You probably should just go down to the rope store at that point and just buy a length of rope, because it's not going to get any better. It's not like you're going to start being right kind of track record. Just go to the rope store and get a length of rope, and then go to the stool store and buy a stool. You need a stool. It's very important. And some sort of notebook store. You'll need a pen, but I think at the notebook store, they'll probably have a pen. Anyways, then you go home and you hang yourself. It's funny too, people always go, it's funny to, you never wonder what those people are thinking about. You never understand why a guy would hang himself, because none of us ever have. But actually, it's pretty easy to understand, you know. But people, one thing I don't understand, like, people hang themselves for two different reasons. One, to escape the worthless sham we call life. That part I understand completely. The other reason that guys hang themselves is to whack off. That's like a newer one. The other one about the worthless sham of a life, that's been going on forever, but lately, they've come up with a new one. And the reason to hang yourself. But, and listen, I like whacking off as much as the next guy. I'm not going to stand up here saying, But I've never gone, hey man, I enjoy whacking off. I bet it'd be even better if I combined it with my dread of death. If I could somehow mix those two together, then I hear that it makes your orgasm 1.5 times more powerful. So well worth it? But anyway, Kung Fu did it, so it must be something to it. He's a smart guy, right? He's a Shaolin monk. No, that was just the actor that played him. My master Poe doesn't go for that sort of falderall. But whack jacking off is an odd thing. I saw the, but forget about that. I want to talk about the pork chop because I ate the pork chop and it occurred to me, something occurred to me, you know? And this is what it was, that when you eat at a restaurant, it is different than when you eat at home. You know what I mean? Like, you would never eat at home. Go, hey, I'm going to make me a pork chop, man. In my skillet, I'm going to cook it up so it's nice and hot on one side. Then I'll flip it over, get hot on the other side. I'll flip it over again, get hot on the other side. And, but while I'm waiting for my pork chop to get nice and hot so I can eat it, I think I'll eat a big fucking loaf of bread. I'd be retarded. You know, slather butter all over that. I'll eat all that. And then that'll make me hungry for that 2 pounds of pork that I'll be eating after. So, that's not right. And I noticed that, another thing that was different was, after the dinner, the guy came with the dessert. Now, when I was young, you people are young, and I am old. But when I was young, one time I saw this old guy, when I was fucking 6, 7. This had nothing to do with shit. None of it does, really. It's all a bunch of gibberish. But this is what happened. When I was 9 or something like that, I was like 8 or 9, my dad took me to Las Vegas, Nevada. I was just a little young boy, and he took me to see this guy, Danny Thomas. Have you ever heard of that guy? Oh, old guy. He was even old then, when I was a fucking... So anyways, I went to see him with my dad. So his whole act, he's like, when I was young, he was all mad on it. And we're like, what? And he's like, things were different. And so his whole big long set was how when he was young, his father used to kick him in the pants a lot. He'd say pants instead of ass, because if he said ass, half the room would have walked. That's what kind of audience it was. So he'd go, so that was basically his whole idea. When I was young, like the other day, my daughter was sitting and watching the TV. I come in to her, and I said, you turn that off right now. And then she said, I'm keeping it on. And I didn't do nothing, you know. Hey, when I was a kid, if I said anything like that, my dad would give me a kick in the pants. So then my dad would go, goddamn right. What is that? Just sit there, what is it? Does it kick people? What? Man. So what I'm trying to say is that when I was young, you are young, but I am old. But I know what it is to be young, and you do not know what it is to be old. No, but when I was young, pot was something that you cooked your green beans in. Why, hash was something you make corned beef with. It was it's a simpler time. Acid was something that, I don't know, when somebody made a pass at your wife, you'd throw it in their face. You always had to carry those vials, I remember. Some sort of acid-proof vial. But it was simpler. It was simpler back then. And ecstasy was just a feeling you had. It wasn't some sort of... Now, it was a feeling that infused your entire viscera with enthusiasm. You know, it was just, you felt ecstasy, you know. Usually after you threw that acid in the guy's face. After all, he wasn't entirely without fault when you think about it. Made a pass at your wife. But no, what I was going to say was, when I was young, this was how dessert worked, because this is what the guy brought me after the pork chop, brought me dessert. And in the old days, when I was young, a guy would come up and go, hey, what do you want for dessert? An apple pie or a cherry pie? And you go, I'll have a cherry pie, and the guy would bring it to you. But now, it's all different. Like the guy came today for me with the dessert, and he has a whole tray, you know, of every confection known to modern bakers. He's holding it there in a tray, you see. And he's like, what would you like? Okay. Did you leave enough room? Like, they talk all fucking different than when they had the pork chop, you know? They talk with all these sexual undertones, like, can I tempt you with a... Why are you saying it like that for? What do you... Some people play along, they're like, oh, you bad man. I do that shit, because... Like, decadent. Well, why are you saying decadent? Why are you saying these things? I'm a fellow and you're a fellow. What's going on here? We're still talking about desserts, right? I don't want to end up blowing you in the bathroom or something. That's not going to happen, is it? I can be tricked as easy as the next fella. I don't want to be in the fucking bathroom, but hey, wait a second. I thought we were talking about a raspberry torte or something. I don't care much for you, fella. I don't care much for you at all, I'll tell you that right now. Look, my word is my bond, so I'll continue, but I don't care much for it at all. Just reluctantly. I'm just doing it. None of that shit, which I've seen on the computer. Yeah. I don't know if you guys got any one of these computers, but I bought this fucker, this computer, right? Thinking in my head, oh, this is a computer. That's real smart. Computers are super smart. And maybe if I have this fucking computer around, right, it'll rub off on me, I'll look at it a lot, I'll get smart myself, right? So I go there, I go, hey, give me your smartest computer. Yeah, they're all way smarter than you, you know. So anyways, I get the computer home, I turn around and figure it out.
I'll be right back to pick that up.
Anyway, turns out the computer is a fucking filthy animal. It's even worse than me. Like, way worse. But anyways, if you've never seen computer pornography, I advise you strongly not to. Because, good Lord God, once you step over that line, you're pretty well fucked for good, you know? You know, you want to keep some innocence, some glint of humanity to yourself. But at first when you see that computer porn, you can't even fucking believe what you're seeing, because, you know, it's like, holy God, it's like, there's so many women that I'm in another button, there's more. Like, there's, is every woman a whore? What the fuck? These are pretty women. I've never met a lady like this in my life. I feel very alienated from everything. You don't feel like you're with it. But then, after a while, like everything, you know, if you watch something enough, you get desensitized to it, like they say in the big books. And what that means is that, you know, you're watching and you're like, she can only take 8 cocks up her ass. Why don't you even get in the business if she's going to be such a... I'll find something else. What worse thing can a person do to another person? I mean worse. So then you have to go away from it all and cleanse your fucking mind and soul again so that you can be, you know, sensitized again. You don't have to be desensitized the whole time. Like in the old days, they said it was different. It was like all completely the opposite, because they're like, you ever hear the old guys, they go like, and, it was sexier back in the movies in the old days. And just why now it's all out there in the open for you to see. You know, there's nothing left to the mystery. You know, and when I was young, all the, what's the name of the old actress from the old days? Huh? Yes. Why in the old days, I remember we'd be sitting in the moving picture house and Betty Davis would show up, and by golly, all she'd have to do was show a little of her ankle. Just arch her eyebrow a little, and that was enough. That was sexy. That was sexier in a way. And you go, what the fuck? You were whacking off about that? That seems even grosser than like you're watching the movie, like, I can't wait till I get home. Huge hard cock, like Betty Davis's ankle. I'll be thinking about that later when I'm fucking you. With your gross ankle. It's whacking off, so everything's ridiculous. When you think about whacking up, but anyways, forget that. I want to say, I do want to say about the about this girl I was talking about being a vegetarian, because I forgot to say this. That she told me, right? That she told me that. That every Thanksgiving she will make a turkey, but instead of using a turkey, she would fashion the countenance of a turkey out of this stuff called tofu. And with the tofu, make it into the image of a turkey and eat it. Which surprised me on account of, that's the thing she didn't want to eat in the first place, was the fucking turkey. What's she think? What's she doing? Like me, I'm against cannibalism. You know that, right? But it would never occur to me to take all my delicious cheese sandwiches and make them into a fucking rotting old guy's corpse. And fucking eat that. Now, I'm glad you clapped, man, because I'm proud of my anti-cannibalism stance. I'm serious, man. It's important to me. There's things in my life that are important to me, and one is to spread the message of cannibalism. And listen, I believe that the education really is the only way. So what I do is, and you can look this all up on the fucking www Google shit. You'll see that I do a lot of benefits and all that shit for anti-cannibalism. And what I do mostly, though, I love to work with the children in the school. So I go to schools across this great nation, and I tell the kids, I go, listen, you know, if you think it's cool to eat some fucking guy, if you think that's going to make you a cool guy at school, you know, I mean, it will for a while. You're a fucking guy. Of course, you know, there's going to be talk about you. There's, you know, you're going to have some, you know, you're going to have some press for a while, probably for a long time. But there's a bad part to it. You know, whatever. I try to get them to listen. That's all I can do. I realize that standing up on stage, talking into a mic, and acting like a retard isn't enough in life. Now, so I've taken on these what do you call them, benefits or good things. What do you call them? Whatever. Charities, all that shit. Because before that, I'll admit to you, like, other than my charity work, I'm a rather empty individual. Like, I travel around the country because I do stand-up comedy. See, so I go from town to town to town. I do two things. I'm a stand-up comedian, plus, a lot of people don't know about this about me, I'm a dangerous drifter. So I got, like, my hobby and my work, like, dovetail perfectly. And sometimes it's hard, because I'll be in a town, you know, and a cop will be eyeballing me, you know, and I won't know. I'll go, maybe he knows me from being a comedian or something, you know, or one of my shit shows I was on. Or maybe he knows me from that time I drifted into town a couple of years ago. And all them fires happened. You know, I can never tell. So, you know, he'll sidle up to me, and I can't tell, because he'll go like, "You're Norm, aren't you?" I'll go, yeah, what of it? And he goes, "Nothing, just wondering, what are you doing in town?" I go, "I'm working over at Cap City there. A fellow named Vic, you can ask him yourself." He goes, maybe I will at that. But, still retarded. But listen, when I say retarded, by the way, I am talking about people with Down syndrome. I'm not talking about just dumb guys. Because I think if you're a dumb guy and I call you a retard, that would be an insult. You're not a retard, you're just a dumb guy. But a retard, I feel quite comfortable calling a retard. But I actually like retards. People, I would be happy. You know what? I would like to have a friend that was a retard, because they've acquired something in their clutchy little grasps that the rest of us eludes the rest of us somehow, and that is a couple of drops of happiness. They seem happy, don't they? When you talk to them, doesn't a retard always seem happy? And my God, what would we give for that? You know, all our fortune, you know, we would give for happiness, for goodness sakes. So I feel that if I got a retard friend, you know, then that would rub off on me. But it's hard to get retard friends, because it turns out their parents are very protective. We're not talking about a child, we're talking about an adult retard. I don't know, apparently. I feel, because I have a hard time like getting that happiness, and I just say whatever. I'm like the opposite. I'm happy for such a seldom, just like when I wake up, sometimes like I'll wake up like this here, and then I go, oh, a pillow. I see my pillow, you know, and I'm happy for a second. I'm like, I like pillows, you know, and so I'm still just waking up. Then I have a door in my bedroom, and under the door comes light and stuff comes in, but also under my door, what will come up and creep onto me? My life. It comes under the door, my life comes, it's all over me. I'm like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? What did I do that for? Holy fuck. It hurts. Why does everything hurt and shit? I gotta get up, and then I fall to my knees. I gotta fucking please, God, anybody. And then I think if I got a retard going, I like bananas. I go, God damn. That's a good point. I like bananas too. They're yellow. Fucking right they are, retard. They're yellow. Bananas are yellow. I never looked at it that way. Then I'd be happy. Anyways. Enough of that. I want to talk about my charity work, because I'm not really here to talk about fucking jokes and all that shit. Like, I think that's important to a point, jokes and all that shit. But really, what we really should try to do is charity benefits for the people. And listen, like one of them, I like popular ones, like cannibalism, for instance. Pretty popular. Landmines. You know about landmines, you know? This is a very serious issue. I don't like to talk about it much, but what a landmine is it's they put them underneath the earth where you can't see them, and then guys step on them and they blow up. A terrible thing. It's going on all over the place. And one of our great champions of the cause, I've been in the anti-landmine crusade for some time. I don't like to, I like to keep it calm. But anyway, we lost one of our great champions in the crusade a couple of decades ago or something. It was Princess Diana, the princess of England. And she was a princess. She lived in a castle. But she was much more than that, because she would go around and she would really fight the landmine people. Because she was against landmines. And so was I. We had this in common. And then she, of course, tragically, something happened, died. She died. Everybody was sad. And then Elton John wrote a song about her that he wrote for another lady earlier. I don't know why the royal family wasn't unhappy about that, but whatever. Because he was under a time crunch or something. They're like, how you doing with that thing, Elton? You got that song for, Princess Diana? What? Oh, yeah. No, yeah, I was meaning to get a... Yes, I did write it. Here it is. Wait, this is beautiful. And she lived her life like a... Ooh, that seems familiar. This isn't that fucking thing you wrote for Marilyn Monroe, was it? No, I changed some of the words a little bit. It's a little bit the same. It's identical. It looks like exactly the same. Well, I was thinking, Marilyn Monroe. Oh, she died, lived her life. Remember how she lived her life like a candle in the wind? And I was like, yes, of course I remember that. She lived her life. She was out crazy, man, doing all kinds of pills and everything. And so such a vulnerable, waifish spirit to her while she was in the grinding mechanism of Hollywood that just crushed her down. Well, she lived her life like a candle in the wind. They could at any point extinguish, And then Elton John's like, yes, exactly. But what does that have to do with Princess Diana? Well, she lives her life like a candle in the wind. She's in a castle, and she wakes up. Then a butler comes in. Well, it's not quite the same, but...
Thanks a lot.
But, everybody is like a candle in the wind when you think about it. Anything can happen. All right, anything can happen. She was the woman probably least like a candle in the wind of all of us. I'd say if we polled all of us in this room, our life would be more like a candle in the wind than Princess Diana, the Princess of England. But anyway, the point is this. I have taken up with great enthusiasm and energy the anti-landmine crusade, and I'm quite proud of it, And I go and I do my protests, and I go, I have I got a stick with a fucking cardboard thing on it. And it says stuff about how bad landmines are. And what's good with a very popular cause like that, we have a lot of people behind us, is that you don't often see a counter-protest. Because that's what you don't want when you go to a protest. You don't want to see the counter-protest. You don't want a clash, And there's always a couple of guys, landmines, there's always a couple, but they're kind of kooky, or they're in the, they're probably in the pockets of the landmine companies, I don't mean to get all Bill Hicks on your anger, but listen, I gotta be serious here. If you think the landmine companies in this country care about you, the little guy, all they care about is their third quarter profits. All that shit, whatever that means. No, seriously. I don't want to fucking break your bubble or anything like that. But all the landmine fucking companies are interested in you is if you blow up on one of their landmines. That's how they make money. Every time you step on a piece of grass that you think's grass but is actually a hidden landmine, and then you blow up, there's money in their pocket. You can't be that naive here. Good Lord. You get the TV, don't you? But, what? Oh, Lord God. I don't even know what I'm yammering about now. So, anyways, what else? I've established that I'm against cannibalism, I believe. And unless, this is an interesting thing about cannibalism, you think you're you know, very anti-cannibalism until it comes up. And then it's a whole different thing. It's easy, you know, to have these limousine liberal beliefs about how bad cannibalism is when there's plenty of delicious cheese sandwiches to be had. But what about the people that aren't in our lucky situation, you know? What about the people who happen to be stranded in the Andes mountain range? What about those guys? They have to really make their cannibal decision very carefully, because I don't know why, but I would see personally, I don't want to test my cannibalism beliefs that strongly. I don't want to go to the Andes. I'll never book anything that's on the other side of the Andes. Like, I know some people will do it on purpose. They go, listen, I'm looking for a place, the wife of Ruth and I. Remember Ruth from last year? She was thinking we got to get away from the kids. And she was thinking we go to a nice island somewhere with hammocks and something on the other side of the Andes. Do you have anything on the directly that we'd have to directly cross the Andes? You have a small plane? We don't like big planes. Ruth enjoys small planes, and in the dead of winter, that's when she likes to fly. Can we go then? So then you get in the airplane, and of course you instantly crash into a mountain. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. There's no secret to it. I think it's written on your boarding pass. It says, way over a mountain. And so then you crash into the mountain. And you have to wrestle with your conscience because, you know, there's guys to eat you can eat. And most guys, I think everybody wrestles with their conscience. That, you know, I don't think maybe there's one guy who goes, hey, I'm going to fucking start eating people right away. I'm going to eat that fucker in 42E. He's dead. And everybody else is wrestling with their conscience, and then by the time they decide to eat, there's just one fat guy. Special bones everywhere. But that's not what happens. People struggle. They wrestle with their conscience, you know, for a long time before they decide to finally, you know, eat the guy in 24E. And I don't know if you've ever wrestled with your conscience before, but it's you know, it's something that's, I don't know, man. It's hard to wrestle. Well, you know what's harder to wrestle than your conscience, if you think about it? If you had the choice? Don't wrestle a professional wrestler. That's the toughest thing to wrestle, I think, is a professional wrestler, because those fuckers. But no, you gotta wrestle with your conscience. And then, well, the point is, finally, if I can get too hungry, you fucking eat the guy, because days have turned into weeks, have turned into months, have turned, you know, time works. Yes, then becomes now. And then, so you fucking decide to eat the guy at 24E. But now, you're so ravenously hungry because you haven't eaten. You're like, you're fucking eating them. Blood all over there. And then, of course, that's when the fucking rescue guy comes. They fly over there like, we got hamburgers and hot dogs. And cheese sandwiches, everything. We'll be down in a minute. You're like, Man, it's, I don't know, but I was going to tell you one thing about how weird whacking off is. I just feel I should tell you it. Because I was thinking about it, when you're whacking off and stuff, right? It's fucking weird because you gotta construct in your head a thing that's not happening, you know? Because what's happening in real life is you're whacking off. But in your thought bubble and shit, It's not you whacking up in your thought bubble. No guy could ever do that. No one's that enlightened, you know. Maybe one of them guys that sits on the top of a mountain in the cold, you know, maybe those guys, one guy, but the rest of us, you know, pedestrians, you know, we have to construct something in our head. Now, so it's you and I'm just talking about guys. I don't know about women because I'm not a woman. I can't speak, but sometimes I've asked them, I go, hey, when you do that, what do you think of? And then they go, the wind. So they work on a more elevated plane. But guys work on the idea of being with a lady in their thought bubble. So, and it requires an enormous amount, obviously, of self-delusion that you can actually, you know, even paranoid schizophrenics have trouble coming to the point of actually achieving orgasm over some imaginary event. But, and I don't have a huge imagination. Like some guys can like whack off to like Victoria's Secrets or kind of Playboy or something like that. But I can't do that. It doesn't work. I don't know why. I mean, it's always the same thing. Like I'm like, and then my thought bubble, I'm like, hey there, Victoria's Secrets lady. Come over here and take your underpants off. I'll give you some. What? No, you don't want to? Okay, goodbye. Why would you? I don't know what I was thinking. Sorry about that underpants comment. So I can't sustain disbelief in that. However, the girl that works in the 7-Eleven 3 blocks from my apartment, the fat girl, you know her? You don't know her. You don't know her. But anyways, her name is Marjorie. And one time, 6 months ago, I got a bag of sour cream and onion chips. And she's like, I like sour cream and onion chips too. But she looked at me like in a weird way. I'm like, that's different, man. I've talked to people about chips and shit before, like how we both like the same type of chips. But believe me, there's something else going on here. These guys have a sense of this, right? So, anyways, the point of it is, Marjorie, in my mind, I fuck her all the time when I'm whacking up. And she knows nothing of it. And I would never want her to know. So if you ever bump into her, don't tell her. And, this is the place I go to get my supplies, my 7-Eleven stuff, So I don't want to complicate the issue. And, I know I'm withholding, I'm not lying to her, I'm just withholding truth, Because I believe it would be rude going, I fucking jizzed all over thinking about you last night. Remember the sour cream and onion? But... So I just leave it like in reality as a normal thing. And in my thought bubble, all this crazy shit, and I memorized her face from that time when she said she liked the sour cream and onion chips, or she was like, she had a very specific, it didn't look like that probably, but it had a very specific look to it. So anyways, I use that face a lot. And then, so I construct this crazy thing in my head, and I'm wagging up. But then the weird thing is that after it's over, it's all gone. It's all just drifts away, and you realize the unreality of it. But at the time, you're like, and then you're like, hey, how you doing there, Marjorie? Come on in. I see they give you a couple hours off there, huh? At the 7-Eleven? Is that right, huh? Why don't you fucking come on over here? Get right now. And sometimes I'm mean. I don't know why I'm mean to her. But I am. I'm awful. She's like the sweetest girl, And I would never talk to her like that in real life, but for some reason, I'll fucking show you a sour cream. So, I don't know why I'm like that. Because I'm most gentlemanly toward her in real life. But anyways, and then I feel like I can do anything, treat her any way I want, because it's in my thought bubble, and I'm like, hey, go get a friend of yours, it's a different race, bring her back. And then she goes away and comes back, I'm like, do all this crazy fucking stuff. And, anyways, but the horrible moment is right after, because you're with all these girls, you're like, and all this crazy stuff goes on, and then it's over, you're like, There were no women. Hey, and just relax here. It's all right. Just me, sure, that's all. Nothing wrong with that. I'll sleep, that's it, I'll get some sleep. Yeah, that's the answer, sleep. Whatever. Sleep is usually the answer, by the way. That's what I found. Most of life's problems. Sleep. That's why I don't want to die, because I like dreaming. I like having sleep and dreaming. And I hear that once you die... But that's my favorite part, because, you know, things that are so painful in life and everything, you know, like everything in life seems like, you know, it's got a lot of pain in it, right? But then when you dream, way more horrible things happen to you in your dream than in your real life. But you don't feel the pain. It's perfect. You know what I mean? Like you're going doodly-doo, and then a fucking bear starts chasing you. You're like, oh, a bear! Ah, it's got my leg, you know, but it's not like a real bear. It's not like shit's pouring out of your ass. And you're like, ah, you know. And then you're like, hey, there's my dad who's been dead 6 years. How you doing? You're having a conversation with your dead father, and then that's crazy shit. So in real life, that would be a full day of being terrified. And your dream actually move on to other things. You're like, well, I talked to my dead father for a while, then that bear ate my leg. And, what's next? It's a good way to live, you know? I don't know. I'm just an old chunk of coal, you know. But it's cool because I'm gonna be a diamond one day through the sun. I myself am a Christian. Everybody's got some fucking religion, and I find lately, whenever I tell somebody I'm a Christian, they look at me like I'm a retard. Like when I was young, everybody'd be a Christian, so it didn't matter. You just go, just be what type of Christian were you? Go, what are you? The guy go, I'm a Lutheran. You go, what are you, retarded? I'm an Anglican. But now, it's not in vogue. And then I think people sometimes do with Christianity, because I don't know, like I like the scriptures, you know? They're cool to read and fun and stuff. But sometimes people get like mixed up between Christianity, which is just a book of stuff to read, you know? That's cool. Jesus, cool, yeah. Can't get much cooler than that dude. Even if you're not Christian, if you met that guy, you go, I kind of like him. Seems like a nice fella. But I think sometimes people get like confused. Like instead of focusing on Jesus, they'll go, I saw a guy, I didn't like him. Like they'll, like an evangelist, you know? That's not really like, you know, the spokesman for Christianity. The spokesman is Christ, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. And so if just because a guy's got a TV show where he's got a Bible, it doesn't mean he's necessarily a spokesman for my belief, you know what I mean? And sometimes I'll watch Sunday morning shows because I like hearing scripture. And then sometimes, I'm telling you, man, I've seen shows whole hours, these motherfuckers, they don't even read one scripture. They don't even have a fucking Bible. There's a Bible like on the desk. A lot of times, it's just they're building something. A lot of times, there'll just be a guy wanting money. He's standing in front of a big fucking thing. He's like, we're building this thing. Good God, it's expensive. You didn't think it'd be this. It's a giant church. It's the biggest church ever. Anyways, we're broke again. We don't have a lot of money here. Can you send us some money so we can build this thing? You know, I don't want to. Remember those commercials? You seen those commercials? What are those commercials? It's got to be bad when you get commercials where you're the old guy in the commercial. You're the old guy. Like I saw Lee Majors. Like, you know, he's a $6 million man. That fucker. When I was young, he was a $6 million man. now he does these commercials for a thing it's called the bionic ear. Right? It's just him in a chair. He's like, I don't hear too good at it. He's a bionic man. Like, would you like a bionic ear? And you're like, I don't think it's the real one. I think it's just a hearing aid. The bionic ear, you could hear it in fucking Portugal. I remember that episode. I was like, well, whatever. I don't hear too good out of this one. Oh, that's too bad. Too bad you couldn't have just not come back on TV. That would have been better for all of us. What about those old guys? They're so fucking old that their job is to sell, their commercial they're doing is for old people that are going to die and they don't have no insurance. They're so fucking old that they forgot some, I don't know what the fuck. But, so Ed McMahon did it for a while, then he died, now somebody else does it. So I was like, hey, listen, does nobody want to insure you because you're so fucking old and sick and everything? Are you in your deathbed right now? Anyways, you never thought of getting insurance, huh? Well, what about your family? They gotta bury you, for God's sakes. How about this? Join our thing, and we'll take care of everything, and it's $1 a year. We don't make a lot of money. It was never a good idea, this business. I worry about my check clearing from these guys. You know you're old when you're doing that. You think about dying a lot like me? Something runs through my mind day and night. Survivors of my death. Some commercials. What about commercials that those commercials are so self-evident that they're, like I saw, this is a real popular commercial now. You see all the time, some guy comes on and he goes, hey, you ever think of buying gold? You're like, yeah, I guess it's valuable. Historically, gold has always been worth a lot of money. You're like, I know that when I retarded. You knew that already? Yes, I watched Daffy Duck when I was young. I know gold is worth a lot of money. What the fuck? You think of buying any? Well, of course, maybe. I don't know. I better go. I've been on way too long. But listen, I was thinking this today, and then I'll go. And it's not very funny. No, I'll tell you this instead. Fuck that one. I was thinking that women are the superior gender, and I'll tell you what. Proving they're the inferior gender. While I try to make my point. No, the reason I think women are the superior gender is simply because they can create life. You know, and what can we do? Eat a grilled cheese sandwich or something? Creating life. What can we do that could possibly compare to that? And I think it's amazing. And a woman can actually create life, and all she needs is like a dollop of cum, and she can create actual life, life that sustains itself. A guy can't do that. You give him a dollop of cum, he's like, hey, what are you doing that for? What did I tell you about that, Frank? It wasn't funny the first time. Who told you it was funny the first time? It's never funny. Or they laugh it up hungrily, whatever. I'm not here to judge, but either way, it goes to naught. That's my point. But and yet women can actually create life. Like everybody makes fun of the octomom and stuff like that. But to me, I think that's the most unbelievable thing you can do in life is create it. And if I was a woman, I would be holding that over guys' heads all the time. I'd be at parties, I'd go, hey Fred, what are you working on now? Well, I work down at Eggers Bank there, Marjorie. I work for old man Eggers. Yeah, I'll tell you what I'm working on there, Fred, is I'm creating life right now. Human life is the highest form of life. I'm creating it. As we speak, actually. I've created it twice already, so I know it's probably going to work. But, hey, listen, you know what's weird? A foot just kicked me that I created. I created a foot earlier, and now it's kicking me. I don't know if that's ironic or not, because I don't know what ironic means, but it's odd, though. What do you think that's odd, Frank? What is it you do again? At Eggers Bank, Marjorie. I work there, see? And Mr. Eggers says I keep working there good long enough. You got an office next to his I can be in. Really, it's interesting, Frank. Listen, I want to tell you why I create life. Because it's not selfish as you might think, you know. It's not just me trying to... What I want to do is I want to propagate the whirling cinder we call Earth with... I want to people it with grandchildren's grandchildren of mine so that they can... lush to the prose of Pushkin as I do. I don't know. I'm doing it for posterity is what I'm trying to say, Frank. What about you again? He goes, listen. Well, the upshot of it is this, Marjorie. I'll be playing with you. I bring papers into Mr. Eggers' office at the end of the day. A stack of papers about yay big. Then I go away for 20 minutes and I come back. And old man Eggers, he's got less papers for me from the papers that I give him. That's all I can tell you, Marjorie. Now, they told me there'd be sandwiches at this party. That's what a fella said. He said that they had sandwiches that are cut, and they cut the crusts off, and they're in triangles with really toothpicks. Now, that's what that man said, Marjorie. Anyway, that vignette obviously shows Marjorie in a better light. It doesn't have a sharp, like, ending. I'll admit it unravels a bit at the end. What the fuck? I'm not fucking Aesop. You know, just sometimes things don't work out perfectly, you know? What? Whatever. No, Coca-Cola, and which you guys don't have, because whatever. You go and find Coca-Cola. Some places, you should have Coca-Cola everywhere, you know. It's the best. But some places, you go and you'll go, hey, can I have a Coke? And they go, no, what about Pepsi? You're like, Because I think people think that if Coke is your favorite drink, which it is for me, that Pepsi would be your second favorite, but it's not true. Pepsi is your least favorite. You got some kind of fucking deal where you hang don't got that in this town. I get that a lot. You have a Coca-Cola? No. Don't bring that up. And then when you know what, they're fucking Pepsi, go, well, what other soda you got? They go, you like root beer? Oh, well, I'm not 8. I guess I could drink a root beer, but don't have anything else? Like, what about Sierra Mist? You're like, I was going to ask. I was too afraid to ask. I didn't dare ask because I thought you'd say no. That's my favorite beverage, Sierra Mist. I'll be in the fucking restaurant with the wife and get the swordfish, and they say, what do you want to drink? I say, Sierra Mist. So we don't got none. I go, fuck this joint. What kind of hen house horse shit? Honey, get your coat, and I'll pull around in the car. Listen, seriously. If I could say one thing about the real heroes of the country, which I believe are the teachers, you know? I don't believe they're the real heroes. I misspoke again. I think the real heroes are the real heroes. Teachers, they get good press though, because people often say to me, you know who the real heroes are? I go, are they the real heroes? They go, no. I go, oh, they're the teachers. It's counterintuitive that it doesn't seem like a heroic job, but yes. First of all, if you're a teacher, you get the same fucking vacations as a child. You get what, 4 months a year off? You know? My vacation? I get almost no time off. Over 48 weeks a year. 4 weeks a year I get off. What about you? You're not one of those fucking teachers, right? She seems like a teacher. Now, are you a teacher? What do you teach? What grade? What grade? What grade? No, but what grade? Not so easy when it's the other way around. It's always easy to ask the questions. Well, the real heroes are the fucking students. You have to answer the question. Now, what grade do you teach? 9 through 12. So you need a grade 13 education. Now you're the real hero. No, you're the real hero. No, I'm just kidding. You're the real hero. Her husband's like, you're not the real hero. Shut the fuck up. I know, it's a fun thing to say. But what do you do? What do you do for a living that your wife's the real hero? What? You know you're not the actual real hero, don't you? You look obsessed. Did you see how upset she is? So you actually feel you're the real hero? See, I think you've disqualified yourself a little. Because I believe real heroes don't think they are. Because when you hear the real heroes, they go, how the fuck did you run into that fucking fire and pull a guy out? You're a hero. And they go, no, it's the teachers. Not me. I'm a little scared now. I gotta go lie down. Gotta pull the guy out of a fire. That's a good job. Come on. Everybody's shorter than you. Are you worth it? You have to do whatever the fuck you said. No, I'm sorry. What did you say? What? Oh, well. That's an odd word for a school teacher to use. People that were teaching our young children were bandying around words like retard. I'm just kidding. No, they do a lot of good. You know what I read, actually, though? A serious statistic. They actually fuck more students than... students, if you can believe this, than priests. You know how priests... Nobody likes priests. Nobody's going to remember a priest as the real hero. I And yet, actual priests, who I know, I'm not a Catholic, but I know pastors, you know. And my God, they most of them that I know do the Lord's work. You know, I mean, they go out and they're in hospitals and stuff, and they're doing stuff, and for no money, you know, and no recognition, and it's got to kill them. Like going, yeah, people think fuck kids. You know. Like if I was a priest, man, I just let it be known. Like I do a TV commercial. I go, hey, listen, I'm Father Norm here. Come on down to my church. I won't fuck your kid. I'll tell you that. That's the first thing I promise you. I'll tell you a little something about myself. I'm Father Norm, as I've told you, and 20 years or so ago, I took a vow of chastity. Now, what that means is I cannot have sex with a lady, you know? Now, that's tough, because I like ladies, and especially the ones, you ever see those ones where they press their tits together, kind of, and they have a little cleavage on, but they look kind of hoary, but it looks like they don't know they're whores? Anyway, that's my type. Everybody has their own type. The point is, I don't even fuck them, let alone a child, for God's sake. Why would I want to fuck a child? So anyways, but now to Father Norm's. I will not fuck your kid. And you can leave your big-titted whore wife at home. I don't need that hanging around asking me questions all the time. It's junky. You got to admit, though, the guy that put that flag in the Iwo Jima, he's close. Look at that guy went to the moon. He didn't know that when he got there, the fucking spacecraft would crash, or there'd be moon aliens or shit like that. I mean, I know he's not. I know it's not grade 11 biology, but I mean, it's something. It's something. Imagine any fucking other fucking job, you know, you go, hey, I'm the civil servant, I'm a hero. You're like, what, are you fucking retarded? But a teacher, memorize this shit. Back tomorrow, and then you gotta tell it to me. I remember everything I say and then repeat it to me. I got some problems for you. I know you're a child, and that you don't have any problems. That's the cool thing about being a child, but guess what? You fucking got some now. On account of I've got some heroic work to do for you. Very nice lady. Very, very heroic. But, listen, guys. In science, do you teach Newton? Isaac Newton? You know, what are you, retard? Isaac Newton? Very spine of the... The hero that called me a retard is actually a retard herself. Everything's turned on its elbow. I'm sorry, what? A treadmill? Have I seen one? Wait, I don't even get it. It's not good when people are groaning and I don't understand it. No, have I ever seen a treadmill? Yes, of course. You mean the things you walk on? Yeah, I've seen her millions of times. Whoa. I'm a retard. Yeah, you walk on them. They're in gyms and they don't. No, they're not. That's not a treadmill. You remind me of these fucking teachers I used to have. I said the answer. I'm pretty sure I have seen a treadmill, no matter what you say. It's a thing you walk on and then, right? You're not, what? You wouldn't be sure that I'd seen a treadmill? Well, you see, you're probably very bad at grading people. At some point when you ask a student a question, they give you an answer, you have to take them on faith. Well, there'd be no motive for me to lie about that question. I've seen dozens, hundreds. I don't want to brag, but you know, I've been around. I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen treadmills you wouldn't understand. Baby, I don't think I'll ever see you. What about those songs? This is what I was wondering about these singers, you know? Because I like country songs and shit. And people go, oh man, country, that shit, on account of, you know, it's about dogs dying and you're losing your car and all that shit. Becoming drunk, and I'm like, well, isn't that life? Like, that seems real to me, whereas other things seem fake, like rock. You know, every rock and roll, they're like, ah, doodly, oh, the woman broke my heart, I can't. And then you see like 100 women in the audience going, I think these guys get their heart broken. I can't get no satisfaction. Like, what? You're Mick Jagger. If you can't get satisfaction, what the fuck am I supposed to do? What about fucking Mick Jagger can't get satisfaction? Is there any hope for Pepe, the arthritic busboy? Although even country music, although I love it, you know, sometimes like some of the songs are like, you know, like what gets me, what always makes me sad and cry in country music, my favorite song, is where there's an old guy at a bar drinking and shit, and it's on account of a lady left. And there's a poor old guy sitting at the bar, and his new home is the honky tonk, you know? And it always gets me. But then when I think about it realistically, if I went into a bar and I say, hey, who's that guy at the end that died? That's drinking over there. And the guy said, oh, that's Earl. A woman left him back in 62. What the fuck? I gotta go talk to Earl, you know? And then you go, Earl, what's the matter? She left me, you know? And you go, but Earl, it's, you know, I think the problem now, Earl, is not as much the lady as the alcohol itself. You don't remember the girl's name, Earl? Be honest. Let's just be honest here. It's about the booze, isn't it? I've seen fire, I've seen. What about this other song by Elton John? He's like, I guess that's why they call it the blues. Doodly-doo, doodly-doo. And then in the song, right, he never explains why they call it the blues. You're just angry the whole time. These are minor complaints at the beginning. I can take them, you know. The rest of life has been such blessings, you know. Now listen, life is filled with blessings, you know, and prayers go up like water, you know, evaporating up into the heavens, and then sometimes unanswered prayers fall down upon your face like and they sting a little. But I don't know much. Listen, I don't know much. But I do know this, man. You gotta love each other, and you gotta try not to kill anybody. Yeah, you gotta try not to rape anyone. Try to live good, live a good life where you don't kill and rape. I think you've lived a dang good life. I'm lucky, you know, because I don't have the desire to rape, and also I don't really think I could. You know, I don't think I could. I have trouble enough with when I lay down on top of the ladies, just getting through the vent. You know? And that's when they like me. You know, when they like me a lot. And even then, it's not easy for me. Keep my cock like But if I had a lady that was trying to scratch my eyes out and shit, you know, that didn't like me at all, that'd be impossible. I'm like, hey, easy. I get the point, you hate me, but I think my cock a little bendy there. Not working at all. I'm not cut out for rape. One time I know that because one time I had this girl. You know how if you're a guy and a girl says hey, you like something, then you pretend you like it. And she was like, yeah. She's like, I bet I know how you like it. I'm like, how's that? She's like, you like it rough. I'm like, yeah, but I don't. In my head, I'm like, yeah, because I was afraid she'd run away. So then I get her bag in my place. Holy God, I'm like wrestling her. Like, you're gonna try that. I'm like, oh God. My car's completely bendy. I'm like, come on. He's like, yeah, you have to force it. I'm like, I don't know how. This is not, my heart's racing. I don't want to do this anymore. It's like, come on, you're going to run against my will. No, I don't know. I'm afraid to do this. It seems wrong. Even though you're giving me consent to rape you, it's not. What if you call the police? That keeps going through my mind as well. That if this is somehow on a transcript, it won't look good. The italics will not come out. You understand what I'm saying? Anyways, I gotta go. Anyways, folks, I gotta go. I love you very much, and in the name of the Pale Nazarene, God bless all of you.